25.
This is a notice for all tractor and agri-plant owners. Minimise your downtime when you need tyres and call Donegal Tyres Donegal Town. We can go to you and fit your tyres on site or repair your existing tyres if you have a puncture. Don't waste time and leave the hassle to us. So call Donegal Tyres now on 074 9721 482 to organise your call out.
Years ago, I used to dread my motor insurance renewal. Then a friend told me about O'Malley Scanlon Insurance in Ballybofey and Dunlow. They do all the hard work. They contact all the major insurance underwriters and they get the very best possible quote for me. They have saved me a small fortune over the years and they could do the same for you.
When your insurance comes up for renewal, contact O'Malley Scanlon Insurance at their Ballybofey office on 9131020 or their Dunlow office on 952206. O'Malley Scanlon is regulated by the Central Bank.
The young bakers are trying to make our Brennan's family pan and Be Good go viral on something called TikTok, says old Mr. Brennan. Viral TikTok, says I. I knew a fella who suffered from that. No way, says he. Ah, yeah, but he didn't make a song and dance about it. Although, says he, one thing worth making noise about is that anything baked is better with Brennan's. Today's bread today.
Hi, Brendan Gleeson here. Join me in celebrating 30 years of Bewley's Big Coffee Morning Social for Hospice on Thursday the 22nd of September by hosting a coffee morning for your local hospice. To register, please call 0818 995 996 or visit hospicecoffeemorning.ie. Thank you for supporting 30 years of Coffee Morning.
Welcome back to the programme. Delighted to welcome on to it Patsy McGonigal. Patsy, good morning to you. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Can you hear me okay, Patsy? Right, okay. We are just not getting Patsy there at the moment. We'll see. We'll get to him in a moment. 086 60 25,000, by the way, that's the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. I just want to make sure, just see if Patsy can hear me one more time. Patsy, can you hear me okay, I wonder? Right, okay. No, we're not getting Patsy there. Okay, lovely stuff. Okay. You can get me now, yeah?
Can get you, yeah.
Okay, you're a bit low here, but I'll work on that as we go. Right, I suppose, Patsy, just to start by asking, talk to us about this achievement of Mark English yesterday, and I suppose then we can sort of reflect on the events overall. But a very impressive performance from him, but very pragmatic in his response. It's exactly what he was expecting.
Yeah, very grounded and very, very real, really, his response, because, he kind of had it figured out, I suppose, really, and as the action, he had given it his all. He couldn't have done any better, and, he was delighted, of course, to get a medal, and, just relieved, I suppose, in some ways, because serious pressure on us, you can understand,
Yeah, indeed. Unfortunately, Patsy, the quality of that line just is not up to scratch at the moment, Patsy. So if you can bear with me, I will come back to you. As I say, I don't know exactly what's going on there, but it just doesn't sound right, and we'll get back to that in a second. Right, I say, if you want to comment on Mark English, 086 60 25,000, or indeed the performance of our athletes as a whole. Right, just to let you know, we are broadcasting live here from Malin Head. Just a slight technical issue there, which we will overcome. We have loads more people to introduce to you. Very shortly, we're going to be joined by Professor Ken Mulpeter. He's going to be talking about overcrowded emergency departments, and he very well placed to comment on that, of course. Later on in the programme, Dr. Joe Kelly will be joining us. It is the 100th anniversary of the death of Michael Collins, so we'll be getting his views on that, his reflections on that. John Joe McGinley is going to be joining us as well, talking about webinars replacing actual care for special needs children in Donegal due to a lack of resources. Brendan Devaney's on with the DL debate, and then we have a special Monday focus on tourism at Malin Head. Right, okay, I wonder, can we go to Can we go to back to Patsy McMonigal, sorry, on a phone line? Patsy, sorry about that. It's an important issue, and I wanted to be able to make sure I could hear you correctly. Okay, so I think I put it to you, and I'm not sure our listeners heard, that, Mark, it was quite emotional in terms of, the support he's received and what he's achieved, but also in terms of where he thought he would be at. I think he hit the mark winning that bronze, which is an amazing achievement.
Absolutely, you've summed it up there right, Craig. I mean, he was very realistic in his reaction and very, very grounded and calm about it all. I suppose really he's not a young athlete anymore in the sense that he's just new on the block, and he's able to take responsibility and know exactly where he's at and be able to assess the opposition. So that was a reaction to the reality. And in conversations with him last night, he was just saying that that was it. Third was the best he could do. The other two guys were just on the night; they were too strong for him.
And just overall, I mean, it was a good championships for Irish athletes, wasn't it?
A very good championships for Irish athletes, probably the best ever. Of course, they've won medals in the past, and there have been national records in the past. But there was quite a number of people in finals on this occasion, so that's a very, very positive outcome. Really, big positive outcome.
I've heard some of the line of questioning from the media, and I'm not being critical of the media, but it was like, it was almost like this came out of the blue, oh, great, everything's going well, what can we do to capitalise on this? And I just thought the question might have been a little bit ignorant to all the work that is ongoing, building to these types of championships. Some of these athletes have raced, 45, 50 times. They knew exactly where they were at, what they could achieve. It didn't just happen all of a sudden. This success didn't happen all of a sudden because the cameras were on and people were watching it.
Well, that's exactly it, you see. And of course, in some ways, in inverted commas, athletics would be a minority sport, so the amount of media knowledge coming in may not have been up to be normal. So basically, all of a sudden, bang, you've got Irish athletes performing on a European stage. And as I said to Oisin or somebody a couple of weeks ago, this is our stage. European athletics is a stage that we can compete on. The world can be a different story, but on European stage, we're capable of mixing it at European level. So they should have been ready for that. And these young athletes and those like Mark and Kieran McGean that have been around a while, they all performed extremely well.
What does the future hold for a lot of these athletes? Some are new on the scene for the casual fans, a lot of youth on their side. Can they, where it might need to be, can they, pair off a few seconds here or there to be contesting for the medals more consistently, I wonder?
Well, Greg, that's the reason every athlete gets up every day to train, to just be better and to perform, and then get to championships or get into the season and do personal records and season's bests and all that kind of thing. That's why we concentrate so much on that aspect of the sport, season's best, personal bests, all that, and we gauge athletes on that basis. Yes, they can improve, but the hubbub will die down in a couple of days, and these athletes will go back to being very normal, ordinary people back in Irish society, and they really it's an opportunity, I suppose, for Athletics Ireland to jump on the bandwagon here. They have a challenge now. They need to be able to support these athletes ongoing. We're just 2 years out from Paris now, from the Olympic Games, and we've got a World Championships in Budapest next year. And at the World Championships in Oregon a few weeks back there, really only 2 or 3 athletes really performed. Mark, of course, and Adeleke and Cyril Lavin. So we need to be able to build that base of athletes who can compete and get into major finals or semi-finals,
Because the talent is there, and it is, I think membership of clubs and interest in athletics has grown. It's one of those sports, like a couple of others, though, that's everywhere in every corner of the country. And we have shown when sort of the right facilities, the right coaches, the right mentors are there, we can produce, people that can operate at a world level. So everything is there if we invest in it, dedicate time to it. I'm not talking about people like you. I'm maybe talking about like sports ministers and stuff, Patsy, of course. Like the talent is there, the interest is there. It's up to us what happens next.
Yes, indeed, and just take the Donegal scene. I mean, there's serious good work being done in all the various areas throughout the county, and that's been ongoing. And at underage level, and there's a group developing coming through. So these are the people that need support, and then to get to the next stage. Yes, there needs to be more. For example, coaches. Coaches of elite athletes, it's a serious commitment, both financially and timeline-wise. Most of these coaches are just ordinary guys going to work every day and doing stuff. Now, you got Mark lining up on a race the last night, and he's basically lining up against professional athletes. This is a guy who's a junior doctor who was in Galway working as a junior doctor, and we all know how tough that regime is at the beginning of your career. And he was travelling. He was travelling across to Dublin to do sessions. That's a serious commitment, and then get back on deck again the following day. I mean, it's that's where some of our athletes are coming from. So it's. Mm-hmm. We're not in the same loop as some of these other countries in that regard. So we do need more support. Of course we do.
Can we go back to Mark's achievement here? What does it take to bridge an 8-year gap between medals at this level, particularly in the discipline that he is expert in? I mean, can you describe what it would take to achieve something like that?
Well, in very simple terms, Greg, it's just first of all, you need to want to do it. You need to want to do it. And we in athletics, not unlike many other sports, we have highlights each year, a championship. And he needs to be able to go into each winter, and he has done for the last 8 years since Zurich. And in many ways, since he was a young boy, since he started his athletics coming out of Woodlands National School, that's just getting up and being still interested, motivated, enough support, and wanting to do it. It's all about wanting to do it, and it's not an easy. In the society that we live in now, everybody's gone out and about and that, but an athlete's life is rather different, and there's a discipline and there's a regimental approach every day to it. So he just needs to be able to do it. But he has grown as an athlete in that 8 years. He was a different athlete. He was a different athlete completely in terms of his control, in terms of his attitude, in terms of the approach, over the last few days that he would have brought to some of the other championships. Because I always said, when I used to be on Highland, I used to say, this young fella is capable of making every major championship final that ever was. But that didn't happen, but that didn't deter him. And, he got his reward last night.
And what does this mean for... can he? This was European Championships, of course, and we had world level athletes in that. Is Mark still at that level? Can he medal on the world stage in the next year or two, but the next 2 years, I suppose?
Yes, and that means getting to a final, and it means getting to a final. And just go back on it, in Oregon at the World Championships, he just missed the final. He was 10th ranked, 8 go to the final. That was a serious performance. The ordinary person out there may not have understood that, but that was a serious performance, and it was a serious statement by him. So he just missed, and he was disappointed. And he will be driven now to make a final and come Budapest. So and he's capable of making a final. And then the other thing one has to say, once you get into a final in an 800 meters, there is that strong possibility that there is a possibility anyhow that you could get a medal. So it just all needs to work out for you on the day. But as long as you bring your mentality and your strength and your control, and you're in the shape, it's possible. And it is possible for him, most definitely possible for him.
All right, okay, exciting times ahead. But just what finally from you, Patsy, because no one knows more about this than you do. Where are we at in this country with athletics? It's easy to wake up this Monday morning, right, and feel full of the joys of spring. And of course, Mark's achievement is amazing, and we in Donegal feel particularly proud. But as you say, in 2 days' time, when that dust settles, where are we at as a nation in terms of where we are or where we could be, Patsy?
Well, we probably are where we were 10 days ago before it all began. That's kind of the sad part of it, So, really, to be honest, it's going to take Athletics Ireland the national governing body to get themselves together and figure out how we're going to drive this on, and against the background that in 2 or 3 days we won't be talking about these athletes anymore. And that's the reality. Sadly, that's the reality. You know, the Championship Gaelic football season will kick in, and you know, football and stuff. So basically, these athletes will have to go back to their base to get a break, and so on. You know, and one of the things that I meant to throw out there, you know, in terms of encouraging local athletes here, is there were 5 athletes from Donegal at those European Championships. So that there was 4 from Valley and 1 from Letterkenny. Now that in itself is a big statement by Donegal Athletics to get 5 athletes on the European stage, and so on. So it's inspiring, it's encouraging, and you know, really, the young athletes, the young junior athletes, should just be sitting there thinking, right, I want to be part of that. I want to get in there and do that. So that's a bit of a responsibility in Donegal Athletics Board to keep that link strong with those young athletes as well.
Brilliant stuff, Patsy. Great insight as always. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We appreciate it here at Highland Radio as well, all your contributions. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
Okay, take care of yourself. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text line, 086 60 25,000, or call us on 07491 25,000.
The 9 till Noon Show.
Irish Times about overcrowding at emergency departments. For the benefit of our listeners, can you tell us the points you were making, please, Professor?
Yeah, sure. This is prompted by the announcement that the Minister for Health was going to appoint 40 more emergency department consultants in an effort to solve the problem. And I suppose the letter came out of frustration at the this response. The problem isn't in the emergency department. The problem is within the hospital and without the hospital. Within hospitals, we have delays in getting access to diagnostics for inpatients, and working out of an outpatient setting, we also have issues there. And secondly, when we're trying to get patients home, we have difficulties with arranging home care packages for mainly elderly patients at home. And this is, at the moment, not a funding issue, but an issue of finding people to do this job. So on an average day, say in Letterkenny, we might have 14 or 15 patients waiting to go to either home care or alternatively to community hospitals. There are difficulties in discharging patients to community hospitals, in some cases because they're undergoing renovations on foot of HICWA recommendations. In some places, they may have an outbreak of COVID, and in other places, they may have problems with nursing, having enough nursing staff. But within the hospital, and when I see patients and outpatients, the greatest frustration is that you know what you need to do from the point of view of investigations, but you can't get them done in a timely manner. And this is no fault of the staff who are working very hard to provide these services, but it's a block there. So I feel that the resources or change needs to occur within the hospital. Similarly, with regard to general practitioners, I know of at least 6 GPs who've retired recently, and there's difficulties for people arriving, say, in Letterkenny to actually get a GP. Mm-hmm. And then if those GPs want to get investigations done, they have limited access to investigations as well. So, and primary care is beginning to fail. The other issue, I suppose, is that with slowing to care, we're moving into the community to try and move the focus from the hospital into the community, and staff are being appointed to posts within the community. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, these staff are actually from the hospital, so we're in some cases robbing Peter to pay Paul. And if we're going to improve the services in Donegal, we need an influx into the county of extra staff, not moving from A to B. So, nurses, physios, OT, speech therapists, and so on, and social workers. So it's from the point of view that I think I can speak for my consultant colleagues and the junior doctors and mainly everybody in the hospital, that frustration is a major emotion. Most of us joined whatever group we're in, I suppose, wanting to be kind to people, to patients, and to provide the best care we could. But the focus now really is it's very frustrating for everybody, really, and upsetting.
I know it sounds like an obvious question. Yeah, where would you say morale is at Letterkenny University Hospital at the moment? I mean, you can't speak for everyone, but just generally feeling amongst staff, where would you say morale is?
Well, I think there's a good camaraderie within the hospital, but I think throughout the Irish Health Service, morale is at a low point, and I think this is evidenced by junior doctors heading off to Australia, and nurses similarly going to either the UK or the Antipodes. And I suppose if talking to junior doctors, they in particular, I think, are upset really, and it's kind of not what they signed up to do, really, in a sense. I mean, we all expect to be, if you signed up to be a doctor, I speak to that particularly, you expect to be busy. But you don't expect to be kind of frustrated at every turn when you're trying to help patients, and that's within the Irish health system. I think that's the kind of general feel at the moment, and
the problem then, of course, and sorry, I was going to say the problem also too that that leaves an issue with recruitment and retention, and also as we look overseas to try and bring people in to plug the gaps. We have to be able to talk about it, but they will hear conversations like this or read letters like what you felt you had to write at the weekend. If this is not taken seriously, who's to say where we might be in 5 to 10 years' time if the government and decision makers don't start listening to people like yourself who has the confidence to speak out, but many can't, Professor? Where will we be at in 5 to 10 years' time?
Yeah, well, I think that there was a tendency within the Irish Health Service, which I think maybe, I don't know whether it's still there or not, but to mirror what happens in the UK. And not maybe to look to mainland Europe or elsewhere in the world for regard to how to configure services. But the UK is probably even in a worse state than we are and heading out of control fairly rapidly. So they're not a model. We tended, I think, in the past to kind of follow the UK, and then when the UK really realised 5 or 6 years down the road that wasn't the road to go, then we were still on that road. So I wouldn't take the UK. I mean, I agree with a National Health Service, but I wouldn't agree with following the example of the NHS slavishly. I mean, the junior doctors are very disgruntled in the UK, as are consultants who are retiring early. So I would worry, getting with Ireland, I would worry seriously about the NHS. And I know our colleagues across the border have problems as well. So I know we have this launch care model, but I think we need within the hospital services to have some plan generally where we're going. I mean, I know there's controversy at the moment about Navan Hospital, their emergency department is closing. But part of the issue there is that Drogheda, which is will be the main recipient of those patients, have the capacity to deal with them. We had the example of Limerick, where they closed downgraded Nina and Ennis, and didn't build in a factor to increase capacity in Limerick, leading to serious problems in Limerick on an ongoing basis. So, if you're going to change things and you're going to, more centralise them more, then you need to build in capacity before you do the change, not after the event. So and that's
and I mean, even in the HSE. Even in the HSE press releases, when they talk of overcrowding, they say in them from CELTA, they do say that, we are trying to discharge patients to free up those beds for those that are sick. An acute hospital, the beds should be occupied only by people who are sick. That's how it works. But unfortunately, and you've been you've outlined it perfectly well from your position of experience. Just that basic thing, what seems basic, is one of the things we're getting wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the hospital at the moment, if you go into Letterkenny today, an awful lot of the patients are elderly, and when you're old and you get sick, it takes you a while to bounce back. It's not like a child who's better the next day after being seriously sick the day before. So we're dealing mainly, I mean, I tell all my colleagues that for the rest of their lives, no matter what specialty they're in, apart from P's and OBS, that they're going to be dealing with mainly an elderly cohort of patients, and they better develop some expertise in doing that. But it's terrible if you go into any ED in Ireland to see somebody who's in their mid-80s, who's got a pneumonia or is delirious or kidney infection or has broken their leg, waiting for hours to be seen. That really upsets everybody, and there's an increasing tendency, I suppose, that the patient is just seen as almost a problem or a number, not my mother or your father, or whatever, that needs to be treated in a humane fashion, and
really, the problem is too, Professor, we know it from contacts here. People are feeling like that more and more and more, and particularly our older generation, who are so incredibly important. Without them, we wouldn't be here. But they're contacting us and others. Their families are, and they feel like They feel like they're being sent home because they don't matter, and it doesn't matter that they are being given months before they are given what they see as critical treatment. The cat's out of the bag on that one, because the public are feeling it, and I think it's really interesting to hear you recognise that, Ken.
Yeah. I mean, a perfect example is patients who need a total hip replacement or a total knee replacement. Okay, that's it's a very effective treatment, and it's easy to do. Excuse my orthopedic colleagues, maybe different from me, but anyway, and yet we have waiting lists to get hips, and people are becoming immobile. Or cataracts is another example. Okay, which is basically simple, straightforward surgery that you could do today, have patients home in a week, and have a much better quality of life. And yet, my surgical colleagues can't get access to theatre to operate on these patients or other patients. And surgeons, basically, by their very nature, that's what they want to do, is to be in theatre to operate on patients and to make them better. And if they can't access theatre because of space constraints or because there's not enough theatre nurses, then they equally are frustrated, or if medical patients are in their surgical beds. So there's to be honest, there's so much wrong, it's very hard to know where to start, really. But it's not by employing more people in the emergency department, and I have the highest respect for people who work in emergency departments day in, day out, because it's a very soul-destroying in a way and frustrating place to work, because it's just constant stress, and then we're constantly getting messages from management, the consultants, can you discharge a few more patients a day because we're jammed and we haven't this and we haven't that and we haven't the other. But part of the problem is that we have patients in the hospital who are waiting for things to be done, not usually surgery but investigations, and if they were done in a timely manner, they'd be home. And then there's other patients you see in clinic. Say if I see somebody tomorrow who has weight loss and somebody's worried that they might have cancer, for argument's sake, then I need to do a series of investigations. But at the moment, there's a significant waiting list for those, and I'm placed in a quandary then. And commonly thereafter, the patient may present to ED in a week or two because they're still waiting for the investigations that Dr. Mulpeter couldn't get done in time,
Yeah. I mean, how many good people are we going to lose over the head of this that they might even feel they can have more impact outside the hospital, doing different types of work. And very finally, and thanks for so much of your time, Ken, and we'll be joined by a nurse in a moment, but I just want to ask you, I've heard what you've got to say. I've heard it off other people as well.
Hello?
The 9 till noon show in association with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday at Milford Mart, with live music, family fun, a truck convoy and much more.
Awalia is a free mortgage arrears support service providing financial, legal and insolvency advice to help you keep your home. If you are in long-term mortgage arrears, please reach out to Awalia today. Call 0818 07 2000 or visit mabs.ie/Awalia, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
New
am registered in the Intellectual Disability Division with the Nursing Board, and I have only ever worked in care of the elderly in care homes, nursing homes. I am working in nursing homes 18 years, working as a nurse 12 years, and I cannot get employed in a community hospital. They will only employ nurses within the general division, regardless of your experience, regardless of, specialised courses that we have done. To my knowledge now, the most of nurses working in nursing homes in Donegal are either intellectual disability registered or psychiatric registered.
Mm-hmm.
There is very few general nurses actually working in nursing homes.
What's the significance of that, Anne, for those of us outside of the system?
Because I know personally in the unit that I work in, we have 4 intellectual disability nurses. We have 3 psychiatric nurses. Each and every one of them would tick the right hand off the HSE to work in a community hospital and to have the benefits of working with the HSE, but we can't.
And what is the blocker there? Is it, is it
just their regulations, their requirement that they are requiring you to be general trained rather than looking that everybody has the same nursing degree and then looking at people's experience. Like, I think people's experience outweigh that you're general trained.
Yeah, the piece of paper, the experience yeah, but that just requires a little bit of lateral thinking. I'm not sure that the system is set up to allow that, though. I mean, that makes sense.
That Dr. Mulpeter is saying that, that they can't get nurses to work in community hospitals. They're short-staffed there to try and take the extra patients out of the hospital when they're needing home packages or needing extra care after coming out of hospital. Well, there's loads of nurses there. I know 7 of us in one unit that would, but we can't. When we have made contact with the community hospitals, through their HR department, and there's not, they don't entertain it at all. You have to be registered in the general division.
Right, okay.
So
no sense at all.
There's a lot of nurses that would tick that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
And it gives us an insight. No, it gives us an insight because, people like me waffle, but you're helping us to understand where the problems are, as did Professor Ken Mulpeter. It seems if the people in the right positions were able to make, or did make certain decisions, things where it matters could improve really quite quickly, rather than employing, an extra 40 or 50 consultants into positions that the likes of Professor Mulpeter doesn't feel will actually, improve the situation. And similarly, what you're telling us about recruitment that doesn't make sense. So, Anne, thanks for the insight, really, is what I'm saying. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and also I work in a nursing home, and we've only just realised that, or been informed that there's actually community paramedics that will come out to the nursing home and carry out some procedures and things that we would be sending people to A&E for. And, that kind of information I don't think is readily available to people in nursing homes.
Yeah.
They can
Thank you very much for your time, Anne.
Antibiotics. And thank you, Greg. Good luck.
Yeah, okay, thanks so much indeed. I appreciate it. And I wasn't being ignorant there. There's just a slight little delay on the line. But I think hopefully you understand. Okay, thanks for your time. Right, if you want a view on that, 08660 25,000. This listener says, I was in Letterkenny at the weekend. This is on a separate issue. And I saw around 20 cars with L plates up, but no accompanied drivers. Is this law not being enforced? The law is sitting there and they're not enforcing it. Well, the law is there. It's very possible though, that, the person who is the learner is not in the car. I would say lots of mums and dads out there probably have L plates up on the family car for allowing their younger ones to drive. I think the absence of someone sitting on with them does not necessarily mean that the person driving the car is a learner. That's possible. It is also possible that the law is not being enforced, though the penalty for being found driving unaccompanied is really, really harsh. So it's one I think most people might try and avoid. But if you have an insight into that again, let me remind you of the numbers, 08660 25,000. Right, we've so much to come on the programme. We're going to be speaking to Dr. Joe Kelly about Michael Collins on the 100th anniversary of his death. We're going to be talking about these signs. Someone's going around spraying out the English on road signs. What's going on there? Do you agree or disagree? Get in touch. So that and so much more besides. And we're also going to be spending some time later on focusing on this beautiful part of the world we're in, Malin Head. We're right up here, the most northerly part of Ireland. I could literally throw a stone off the most northerly part of Ireland into the sea. That's how close we are, right? And there's people coming up to visit. I've just seen, I think it's a German-registered vehicle pulling in here. But are we capitalising? Are we making the most of this fantastic community? Okay, we'll be back with more after we take a break for the news and obituary notices. Rejoin us after.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday in the grounds of Milford Mart, with proceeds to Ellie's Wish to Walk and MS Ireland, Donegal branch.
For all your health and beauty needs, you can always rely on McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. If you need a prescription, just call or order online at mcgees.ie and it will be ready for you in advance before you arrive. For beauty and skin care, there's all the big names at great prices in store and online. And for your photo printing needs, simply download the McGee's Photo Prints app or click on the website link. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For all your health and beauty needs, and so much more. Call 91-21409 or visit mcgees.ie.
Shane Connolly Car Sales, now located at Drumlonagher, Donegal Town, is an independent car dealer offering excellent finance packages, and we deliver straight to your door, local or nationwide. At Shane Connolly Car Sales, Donegal Town, we sell and service all makes and models. Check out our social platforms or visit ShaneConnollyCars.com.
See the great new collection of Aqua Clean suites now at McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. Aqua Clean is a unique fabric treatment that allows you to clean stains using only water, and these Irish-made suites can be made to measure. Also see McGinley's huge range of corner groups, recliners and leather suites. Transform your house into the home of your dreams at McGinley's Furniture on the Joe Boner Link Road, Letterkenny, and at mcginleysfurniture.com.
Back to school is just around the corner, and at Letterkenny Shopping Centre you'll find all your back to school essentials under one roof. Get everything you need to kit them out for the new school term, from shoes and stationery to backpacks and lunchboxes. Back to school shopping made easy at Letterkenny Shopping Centre.
It's the Northwest Truck Fest at Milford Mart this Saturday and Sunday, with trucks from all over Ireland. Also bric-a-brac and home baking stalls, plus live music. Proceeds to Ellie's Wish to Walk and MS Ireland, Donegal branch. This ad is sponsored by Donegal Oil.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
This is the Highland Radio News at 10 o'clock. I'm Daniel Brennan. Sinn Féin say that the government should begin preparations for a United Ireland now, following the results of a new opinion poll. The poll, which was carried out by Lucid Talks for the Sunday Times, found that more than half of voters in the North would support a United Ireland within the next 15 to 20 years. More than half of 18 to 24-year-olds surveyed, a total of 57%, said they'd vote for United Ireland right now. Donegal Deputy Potter McLaughlin says the Irish government must take a number of steps to prepare for an Irish unity referendum.
It's clear that there is a desire for a United Ireland in the near future in the North. We need to have the conversation. We need to talk about what the new Ireland's going to look like, what the new economy will look like, what the health system, the education system will look like, and how do we protect unionists within that new Ireland. All of these discussions need to happen now to responsibly prepare for the time that's coming. The government should establish a citizens' assembly. The government should draft a white paper, and the government should establish an Oireachtas committee, an all-party committee, to prepare the ground to have the debate, have the discussion ahead of the referendum on Irish unity that's coming.
The Army's bans have cost the state €25 million since 2018 alone. The Defence Forces School of Music has 3 military bands and 100 full-time instrumentalists. Those who are in Army bands have no military training or role outside of a 6-week introductory course. Today's Irish Daily Mirror reports that state functions accounted for just 8% of the over 800 events attended by the bands in the 2 years prior to the pandemic. A range of options need to be introduced to meet the housing needs of Ukrainian refugees in Ireland. That's according to the migrants' rights charity Doris, as pressure on accommodation intensifies over the coming weeks. Around 2,500 Ukrainians are set to leave student accommodation by the end of this month. The CEO of Doris, John Lannon, insists the government should have made more progress on dealing with accommodation challenges.
This is a consequence of a lack of planning over the last 6 months. The Department of Children have been under extraordinary pressure to find beds for people, but we've had time to put longer term solutions in place. A range of options need to be considered. We're looking at things like bringing more vacant properties into use, incentivising people to make their hotel rooms available, modular homes and pledged accommodations in the community as well.
And Bord Pleanála is no longer fit for purpose and needs to be scrapped, according to a government minister. Junior Minister Niall Collins says the National Planning Authority is now contributing to the housing crisis. The Fianna Fáil TD claims the state agency misses every one of its deadlines and is a barrier to progress and development in the state.
On Bord Pleanála, as is currently constituted, regularly and continuously